There's a character in Baki that nearly killed Yujiro Hanma. This character is easily top 5 when it comes to strength. Even Google put him at number 3. The character I'm talking about is Musashi Miyamoto. Musashi Miyamoto is said to be the strongest of his time, and possibly the strongest samurai ever. He was cloned using tissue from his spine, and a psychic named Sabuko Tokugawa had infused an empty clone with Musashi's soul, which gave him his former memories and skills. Musashi drew his sword and took a swing at Yujiro, and Yujiro being him, he simply grabbed the blade with his hand, and Musashi called him bold for this. Yujiro, knowing that Musashi put next to no effort into that strike, he asked Musashi to not patronize him. And right after asking him this, Yujiro smacked the soul out of Musashi. Musashi even went unconscious for a second. However, after Musashi woke up, he landed on his feet and said, Yujiro knocked him into the next world, but it was not his time to die yet. Musashi now understood that instead of using a sword, these New Age warriors' fists are their swords. He then belittled almost every character in Baki by saying their swords don't even compare to his. Musashi then threw a strike at the smiling Yujiro Hanma, and Yujiro yet again caught the attack, but this time Musashi tried to flip Yujiro over using his own grip against him. Yujiro then landed on his feet and acknowledged Musashi as a real warrior. Yujiro said it's a good thing that Musashi is the real thing. Yujiro said now's not the time to pull punches, and he pulled out the demon back. Immediately after Yujiro pulled out the demon back, Musashi attempted to slash him. And Yujiro Hanma, the guy that tanks every hit, had to jump in the air just to dodge Musashi's attack. And even though Yujiro dodged the attack, it still skimmed him and drew some blood. Yujiro is visibly surprised at the fact that he wouldn't be able to simply just tank Musashi's attacks. And in this panel, you can visibly see how strong both of them are just with their aura. Musashi then threw another attempt to cut Yujiro down, but Musashi got countered in the worst way possible. He had to endure the worst pain a man can feel. Musashi was nut-checked by Yujiro Hanma. He was kicked in the balls by a Hanma, with demon back activated. I can't even imagine how painful that must be. Yujiro had Musashi tooted up. Yujiro took a slash to the neck and even admitted he took a lot of damage just to get his foot in Musashi's crotch. And he praised Musashi, saying he's even better than he was in the stories about him. When Musashi learned that there were stories told about him for 400 years, he had this crazed look on his face while saying that he liked that. Musashi visibly put his swords down when in reality, he hid one behind his back, and he began using his hands as swords. Yujiro's hair was slashed by Musashi's hand, and Musashi tried to strike Yujiro with the sword he had hidden behind his back, but a man named Motobe jumped in the way. Yujiro was furious that Motobe interrupted his fight. He even started beating up the guy until he was unconscious. Yujiro was insanely mad that Motobe protected him, and while Yujiro was beating the unconscious dude up, most likely about to kill him, Musashi intervened by putting his hand up to Yujiro's neck, threatening him. Who else can just threaten Yujiro Hanma like that? The strongest creature, the ogre. This alone shows the power of Musashi, and due to Motobe intervening, the fight was declared a draw. However, when Motobe woke up, he revealed what would have happened if he had not intervened. It was revealed if Motobe didn't do what he did, and if Yujiro had just taken the hit, he might not have woken up. And Musashi didn't just stop at Yujiro, this man pulled up on Pickle. Off the rip, Pickle charged him, and Musashi put his sword right in the middle of Pickle's body. Pickle's muscles managed to stop the blade from cutting him in half, and Pickle punched Musashi. Even though Pickle's muscles managed to stop the blade, the damage was still done, and Pickle was all cut up. Pickle then picked up the sword and tried to strike Musashi with it, but Musashi hand-chopped this man Pickle in the eye. Pickle immediately felt the pain of this strike. He was even crying because of the pain. Musashi then cut Pickle's elbows, knees, and shoulders, which made Pickle jump because of the severe amount of pain. Pickle was bleeding very badly now, and Pickle is bleeding so badly now that his energy will fade away over time. Musashi then told Pickle to hurry up, saying they don't have time, and Pickle then bit Musashi on the shoulder, but while Pickle was biting Musashi, Musashi sliced Pickle's shoulder. Musashi had a whole chunk of his shoulder missing. Musashi then mocked Pickle by asking him if it tasted good, and while Pickle couldn't understand what he was saying, he understood the sentiment behind it. Pickle understood he was being mocked and taken lightly, and when he noticed this, he entered his final form. Pickle went to throw another strike, but Musashi hit him with that. Pickle no longer wanted to eat Musashi. Pickle is now cut, carved up, devoid of the will to fight, and devoid of an appetite. Musashi didn't want Pickle to run away and told him to come back here. Musashi had Pickle trembling. Musashi had this man trembling. Pickle hit the dash and dipped out of there, which means Musashi won the fight. And after Pickle ran to Motobe, he said he would handle the rest. Then he pulled up on Musashi Miyamoto, and on sight, Motobe suplexed Musashi. After that, Musashi sat down with Motobe, saying he welcomes him. Motobe was like, "Hey man, you want a cigarette?" And Musashi was like, "Hey cut, you trying to poison me?" Motobe spat a cigarette at Musashi, and Musashi smoked the cigarette. Brother was on pack watch before the fight even started, and Motobe hit Musashi over the head with the wine bottle he was holding. Musashi got up and pulled out an Achilles tendon, and was like, hey man, seems alright. And Motobe then whipped out this chain-like weapon and straight smacked Musashi with it. He then wrapped the chain around Musashi's sword and tried to pull it away from him. But Musashi's grip was so strong the sword didn't even move. And as a matter of fact, he broke the chain just by moving his sword. And he then asked what his compensation would be. He said, do you want your torso cut in half along with both of your arms, or having your face and body split as a farewell gift? Musashi then asked Motobe if he wanted to be cut vertically, horizontally, or diagonally.
The choice is yours.
Musashi then took a swing at Motobe, and he ended up cutting his whole stomach open. Musashi was like, hey bro, you got chainmail on? And Musashi mocked Motobe and was like, if I wear chainmail, you won't be able to cut me. Is that what you thought? Musashi took a slice at Motobe's wrist, and Motobe's whole wrist was left barely hanging on. Then he cut his legs, which caused Motobe to fall. Musashi was about to end Motobe, but Baki screamed saying the match was over. Motobe used this distraction to catch Musashi off guard and tackled him. He put Musashi in a mean chokehold. It's looking like a Khabib vs McGregor right now. And Musashi stabbed his sword right through Motobe's shoulder. And Motobe just ignored the sword and kept choking Musashi. The match was declared over and Motobe was said to be the winner. But when he asked Musashi what he planned to do next, Musashi said Motobe's name with a straight face and put a final slash into Motobe before walking out of the stadium. And bro, this man Musashi is a straight menace. As Motobe was chilling in his hospital bed recovering from their fight, Musashi was on TV. He was doing this interview thing. And when the interviewer told Musashi he was suspicious if he was really the 400-year-old samurai, Musashi used an invisible sword to make the interviewer feel like he had his wrist and neck cut off. And when the interviewer asked Musashi if he liked cutting, Musashi was like, what? Is that wrong to like cutting things? Musashi stood up and he said, your rudeness has been unacceptably great for some time now. He said, if your intent is to upset me, you have already done more than enough. Musashi is not taking this level of disrespect. He drew his invisible sword and cut the interviewer in half. And when the interviewer woke up, he described the feeling of a katana going through his entire body. He even said he thought he died. And Musashi did this on live television. And he really is one of the strongest characters in Baki. And he is one of few people, if not the only person that could have taken Yujiro Hanma's life. And that's going to be all for today's video. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe. And if you want me to do this with any other animes, just leave a comment below with your suggestions. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.